Hello and welcome to Boom, It's on the Blockchain. We're here for another show. It's our 49th show. The big 5-0's coming up.
That's
That's
crazy.
it's older than me now. I'm the big 48 this year, so it's good to see we've passed my age. So how are you today then, Gannett?
Doing great. How are you today, Alistair?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, well, we'll just crack on with the show then, Gannett. I'll just think the first thing I'm going to do is bring in some of the key stories of the week. So, I think one of the big ones, and this is what the title of the podcast was. Let me just bring it into the show. The Ethereum Merge. So, give us a bit of background on what's actually happening here, then, Gannett.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. Basically, Ethereum, in essence, they're moving from a proof of work model for the creation of new coins to a proof of stake model. And essentially, what that means is instead of having these miners, the GPU miners, you're going to instead have people staking, or they're putting up I think 30 Ethereum coins, and then they'll get essentially interest on those coins every year. I think it's variable interest on those coins, and this is pretty cool. It's something that people have waited for a long time now. It's been probably since 2018, before 2018, maybe 2017. This has been talked about, and honestly, way back to the beginning of Ethereum. And this is it's finally happening. The 15th of next month, the merge will happen, and some people are speculating that there could be a huge rise in price of Ethereum. It could all collapse and go to nothing. There's a lot of speculation surrounding this event, and it's one of those things that I've heard some people compare it to a Bitcoin halving, but it's not quite as similar to that, because this is really something that's it's going to happen once, and it either works or it doesn't. The tokenomics of it either works phenomenally or it doesn't, and potentially that could mean that a fork is more successful or gets chosen over the main net. The fork that they're trying to get to with the proof of stake. The ETH 2.0 fork. So that's in a nutshell what this means.
Yeah, so let's just break all this down so people can understand, what's actually going to happen. So if we talk about, people have obviously know about Bitcoin, it's the
Yeah.
major cryptocurrency. Ethereum came along and it's different from Bitcoin because all the technology in the blockchain, or the majority of technology of the blockchain, is using the Ethereum network. So explain a little bit how that actually works, what the mining process for this Ethereum network is, and why the CO2 emissions are high because of that.
Yeah, that's a good question here. And a lot of people, with this mining process that consumes a lot of electricity, that's a big part of it. And people are setting up these tons of GPUs to mine Ethereum, and this is their essentially last month or 3 weeks to do it. After that, there will be kind of a pivot to the proof of work change. There's a direct fork of Ethereum as it stands now that is already trading on some exchanges. There's also one thing that's really interesting here. There's also Ethereum Classic, which was split off a number of years ago due to a massive hack that happened with the DAO, which was one of the first DAO contracts, and it was a $50 million hack or something like that, and they forked the network for the first time because of that. It became Ethereum Classic, which is proof of work. That's the only it's like the second biggest proof of work coin out there that's profitable. So if I had to guess, this new fork, I don't think is going to win a lot of the hearts and minds of the miners, because it won't be profitable. There's not, it doesn't have the listings. Some exchanges, I'll get emails from exchanges saying they're trying to decide whether or not to list this WE POW or this STE, a lot of these weird forks. But I think that the default solution for these GPU miners, and also big companies like Nvidia and AMD, that are their stock price is struggling right now because of this event. They're not going to sell as many GPUs. This is the first time I can remember. I used to work in a computer store 10 years ago, and this is the first time I can remember you being able to go on newegg.com, buy a brand new GPU at MSRP, and have it shipped to your door in 2 or 3 days. It's never been that case, because they've been bought up for over a decade for Bitcoin mining, Ethereum mining, all the script coins, mining those. And now we're to this point where I really do think that there's a chance, and it's a weird kind of chance, because it's going to mean that if they all switch to Ethereum Classic, that coin could get dumped pretty hard. But I think that there's a chance that that becomes the chain of choice here, because it is proof of work, and it does provide the same opportunities Ethereum's been known for, which is they're only after profit, they're only after daily rewards and profit when it comes to mining. And that's what Ethereum Classic can give, and it has enough listings and has enough years behind it to be a good solution here.
Yeah, they're calling it proof of stake. That's
Yep.
what they want to call it. So, just why are they calling it proof of stake rather than proof of work? Then, got it.
Well, it's essentially meaning that you stake. You lock up 30 Ethereum coins, which is I think around $50,000-$60,000, and you're going to get interest on that. You're going to get 5 to 7% interest a year, which is all right. It's okay, and it's going to happen in Ethereum. But the method here is that those rewards are the only the reward, that 5 to 7% is the new mining. That's how new coins are generated, is through people staking. And it's a little bit questionable, I would say, whether this ends up working the way that they think it will work, because I don't know of any other proof of stake coin. I think Binance is proof of authority, so you can't compare there. But I don't know of any other proof of stake coin where it really worked out. Just because it's Ethereum, it probably will. But there's a big question here among some people, especially Bitcoin maximalists, that are wondering, hey, will this even work out? Will it be a Luna situation? So
Yeah, let's bring in this article from The Guardian. So it's
yeah,
actually everywhere. If anyone just puts in Ethereum Merge, there's so many articles in it, and so
it's
many looking at
huge.
the
And be
carbon
careful, because
emission.
there's a lot of speculation out there. Some people are saying Ethereum's going back to an all-time high. I just don't know that that can happen right now, but it might. It very well might.
It'll take it away from, because essentially Ethereum still follows Bitcoin.
Yeah,
There's no denying it. If you look at the cryptocurrency's valuation, and you look at all the other the altcoins, and obviously we don't say Ethereum's an altcoin, but they all follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, they all go up. If Bitcoin goes down, essentially they all go down. What's interesting about this article in The Guardian is that they say that Ethereum mining right now uses the same amount of electricity as Peru. Now, I've never been to Peru.
yeah.
It's a place in South America. They always use places in South America to tell you, so you don't actually know
Yeah.
what the electricity is. But
I think
basically,
I heard Austria too. They said it uses more electricity than Austria or something like that. But
so
maybe that was Bitcoin.
Bitcoin was Argentina.
Okay, yeah,
So
they always just pick a country and they say, hey,
yeah,
we use
they
more
can't.
electricity than
Yeah,
that.
they don't want to say, wait a minute, does Detroit use more electricity than Argentina? But, if you look at it here, so this article talks about the CO2 emissions and the carbon
Yeah.
emissions from essentially Ethereum mining. But with this new Ethereum merge and proof of stake, they said it's going to essentially drop down to around the same amount of electricity that 2,000 homes in America use. So this is going to be an absolute massive drop in terms of the
Yeah.
electricity consumption. So people putting that, you're putting that in perspective. Now, if this works and it goes down like this, what's it going to do for all mining, for all other coins, for NFTs, for everything, Garrett? How's it going to
Well,
change everything?
for the NFTs, the thing is that with the new fork, the ETH POW fork or whatever that's going to happen when they do this split, the NFTs they're gonna live on that fork too, so provided that miners support it. I just don't think the support will be there. I think the support will be for Ethereum Classic, and because it's far more financially robust. And if you go on any what to mine website, it will show Ethereum and then Ethereum Classic, and then sometimes there will be one in the middle, but it doesn't. It's not even top 50. It's not even a top 50 coin. So what's going to happen here is it's bigger than just the mining, and it's bigger than all the NFTs and stuff will go over to Ethereum proof of stake ETH 2.0. But what I'm seeing is that I don't think Nvidia and AMD are going to be able to bear the brunt of this. I think that you have two companies that are worth tens of billions of dollars right now, and I'll tell you one thing, that they're never going to sell as many graphics cards as they were selling in the last 10 years with crypto miners. They, you know, I like to play games on my PC. The only reason I even have GPUs in a gaming PC is because of crypto mining. That's the only reason I have, a couple GTX 1070 Ti cards from 2017 in my computer, is because I mined crypto with them. And I'm like, well, when it didn't really work out, I made a gaming PC, and I'm like, okay, this is still pretty cool. But with those companies, they stand to lose billions of dollars. Yeah, there is some chance that the AI industry could pick up some of that slack, but it's not. The AI industry would have to still grow to the level of the crypto industry, and you're never going to get just some teenager setting up graphics cards, mind you, dozens of teenagers setting up these graphics cards or begging their parents to buy them to mine, do AI stuff, which doesn't pay. I found it, that was another reason I got into AI, is because I had the cards from crypto mining, and then I was able to use them to run stuff on my computer. So there's a big question. You might actually want to pull their stock prices up, pull up AMD and Nvidia stock, and you'll see what I'm saying. It's already tanking. Um, I think Nvidia has lost 50% of its value already, and it could mean another huge loss in their stock price when people just don't have to buy graphics cards anymore to mine crypto.
Right. I'll let you pull that up because I'm somehow on Yahoo right now. I hate how
Okay.
Microsoft kicks you into Yahoo all the time. But if you think, for people to understand that why is Ethereum so popular, that so many of the new technology is developed on Ethereum. Nearly all the NFT platforms are running on Ethereum. So you see these platforms popping up everywhere. We're all making NFTs. There's all different use cases of them. And 99% are coming out in Ethereum because it's the best one out there. So this is why it's using more and more electricity, because essentially this is the blockchain that's underpinning all the technology that's coming out.
Yeah.
What's
So
interesting, as Garrett was saying just now, with this proof of stake model, that if this works, then it just changes everything in terms of that whole part of the industry. Now, I know there's like ADA, Cardano, there's other ones coming out there that people are looking at, but it could be a major blow to so many of the other blockchains and coins out there that are running different platforms on, because why would you not just use Ethereum going forward? It'll be a lot to do with the gas charges. So how's the gas charges going to be affected in this as well?
They're not. That's actually one thing people think was going to change. It's not going to be affected.
No.
That's the official word from the top, is that the gas fees are not going to be affected. It's still going to be, what they are.
What are the gas fees right now?
It's like $1.80 to $1 to send a Ethereum transaction. And then the swaps are get a little expensive, sometimes 15, $20, but it's the best it's been for a long time.
Oh yeah, exactly. Let me just add this to the stream for you there, Garrett. So
yeah. So you check this out, and it's you look at what happened. Okay, 2018, it was almost $70, collapsed, cut in half to $33, almost $70. And it cuts it in half. And this is a year after stuff was over. I mean, stuff really ended at back here for the crypto mining profitability, but they ran till the end of the year, collapsed. Nvidia this year, it peaked out at almost, it was a little over $300, 315. It peaked out with Bitcoin, at that almost $70,000 price. And now it's gone down, to one point it was $158. That's a cut in half. And you have to keep in mind here that this isn't isolated. This is not isolated. If we go to AMD stock, it tells a similar story. You have to go to the big maximum chart and, look at this. But how pumped up this stock was, and AMD was about to die back here. They had seen prices, I remember when they were getting big and, around the turn of the millennium, they had seen like a $50 stock price, but they were in a point down here where it was a point of stagnation. But, people started to mine, people started to buy these cards as a alternative to NVIDIA. And it pumped their stock price up to the highest it's ever been, $144. Now it's down 30% from that. It's down 30%. But if you look in the last 5 years, it's up 700%. It's one of the best investments out there. And it's starting to collapse. But now here's the thing, unless there is some reason past September 15th for people to buy graphics cards and know that they're going to be profitable, both AMD and NVIDIA will have further downside, because people, unless the only other industry I know of that could potentially pick up this slack and potentially show this kind of growth would be the AI industry, and that's a completely different graphics card. It's a completely different architecture, and it's a completely different, what you're after with an AI graphics card is different than a mining graphics card. And so they might have an opportunity to pivot their business model there, but it is very, very clear, I think, that they're going to have some problems.
Yeah, because if everyone's buying graphics cards for mining, and then the money's going out of mining, and it's just you'll just be Bitcoin miners left, and it's
look at that 22,000%, 22,000% on an NVIDIA stock. If you would have bought this in 1999, 22,000%. It's absolutely crazy. Even if we go to the 5-year, 300%. That's still. You could have just bought NVIDIA stock and 5 years ago and probably got the same gain as Bitcoin. So this is crazy, and half a trillion dollar market cap, and where is that going to go? I wonder. I just don't think it's going to be sustained, and I think that could potentially impact the price of Ethereum too. Is when you're creating all of these jobs at NVIDIA, in the factories, at AMD, that gives you a kind of an edge. But if you look here at Newegg, this is has not been this way. RTX 3080. If I go here, you've never been able to save 11%. Like, that's unheard of. 10 years ago, I was working in a computer store. You couldn't even get the latest graphics card, let alone save 5%, free shipping, and have it shipped to you within days. And you're able to even get the good one. This was not this way even a couple days ago when I checked this. This was still going for MSRP. They hadn't put in the discounts yet, but the 3080, you pay $800 and you got a 3080, and it's you go down the list. Some of these cards, just a year ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, you would pay $5,000 just for this card right here on eBay. This $1,000 card right here, you pay $5,000 for on eBay, and it reached a level of scalping that was unheard of. You couldn't get your hands on these graphics cards, but now, with everybody knowing that these do not have the value that they once did for crypto mining, they've returned to MSRP, and sometimes they're going to discounts. So this is the first time in 10 years you've been able to pay under MSRP for a graphics card. So
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how quickly things can change, I'm just going to bring up this other article that brings the stream as well, looking at the gas fees. So the average gas fee fell down to $1.57, and this is back in July, and that's the lowest since 2020, which is amazing as well, because at one point it was over $90 gas fees. So it was amazing that you were going in trying to mint any tokens. The fees were so high. So explain to people, why does the gas fees move up and down, and who benefits from the gas fees?
Network congestion. There's some very good questions right there. Network congestion is the reason that these gas fees go up. The more people that are trying to conduct a transaction at once, that has traditionally required more miners to validate the transaction. So, now it will, it's lower right now. There's not as much congestion, and we are, kind of, the fees traditionally went to the miners. Since the EIP 1559, I think it was, the fees have just gotten burned. So that's interesting. In Bitcoin, the fees always go to the miners. That's the model. Fees go to the miners validate the transactions. Here, though, the proof of work and the EIP 1559 proof of work decoupled. They decoupled it from the fees. The miners don't get, if fees are high, miners don't benefit. It's the same. They make the same amount either way, and they're rewarded essentially from the protocol. But that's an interesting question for sure.
Yeah, somebody's
now they're
always
just burned.
Yeah, somebody's always getting rich out of these things, don't they? So
Yeah.
let's just bring that back just now. We've actually got a comment coming in. There we go. It's from Eva Blaisdell, Lady Rocket. She's based out in LA. She's actually set up a crowdfunding company initially when I spoke to her a couple of years ago. This is the first time I actually heard from you in a while, Eva. So good to see you keep going. She was actually, if you go online, you'll see there's photographs with her with Elon Musk and other people. But what she's looking to do is, when I first met her, she was doing a crowdfunding project to essentially send people to the moon.
Wow.
And then look at what she's talking about now. She's created a utility NFT token financing moon journeys in a space economy and looking for adoption. So, it's pretty far out there, but it just shows that what people are starting to do with NFTs rather than just the sort of Bored Ape chimps. We had Principal Z last week talking about blockchain and education, and here's blockchain coming in with the future space economy. So thank you for the comment. I'll just bring up another one just now as well from Eva. Good to hear from you. I don't know if her hair's blue still, it's just, I think she changed the color since last time I see her. But no, we should I'll reach out to you after the show, Eva, and we'll get you to come on, because that's interesting, because it just shows people that's coming out there. And when she gets her first rocket, our Dave Rogers, our CTO at Zion, he wants to book his space on there. Always been a spaceman, Dave. So if Dave, you're watching this thing, we'll book you on the first rocket. If it's successful, Garrett and I'll go on the second one. We'll have to make sure it returns safely, you know, not just a one-way mission type thing. So that's good for the comments coming in. So as we crack on with the show then, Garrett, let's have a look in terms of other news that's interesting this week. So let's bring it in. Let's see. Can you guess what happened here? Where is this, Garrett?
I really can't. I mean, where is this? Mar-a-Lago. Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, this is the Trump raid.
Yeah, this is the Trump raid coming in. So the Mar-a-Lago part of it. So I'll just put it in like that. So let's add it to the banner. So give a bit of background to what you're thinking of what's actually happened this week. So anybody who's actually been on Mars or up at the moon probably aren't aware of what's Trump's been up to, what the FBI have been up to there as well.
Yeah, I'm usually I guess I'm pretty close to the Mars or moon, because I only heard about this, like I saw it in the feeds or whatever, and I don't watch the news. I deleted all the news apps from my phone. Last one I had was Wall Street Journal, and I was done. It's just that barrage of, they're trying to get you to stare at the TV, or Ukraine was the last big thing that they used. But this, it seems like I would say that there's a 50-50 chance that Trump knew it was coming, or he egged it on himself, because it's publicity. It basically shows, like if he knew that, like, oh, I've got like some sort of thing. If I tell somebody I've got this thing, and then they relay it back, then they're going to raid. They're going to have to come in and get it, because it's above top secret or whatever. They're going to have to come in and get it. That's the process, the due process that they have to follow. And what it will make me look like as Mr. Trump is, oh, I'm going to be all over the news again. It's free publicity. They'll come in and do it for me. It's the best headline. That's what I think this is I think it's just it's a quick publicity grab right before the midterms, and then he'll use it as a campaign springboard to say, hey, look at me. They violated my constitutional rights. Why wouldn't they come and violate yours? Look at this. They can do this to me. They can do it to all of you too. That's the reality of it. And there's truth to that. It's like they don't respect any of the Constitution anymore. Unfortunately, they don't respect it. They'll find some way around it, some rationalization, whether it's saying that, cell phones didn't exist when the framers made the Constitution, or assault rifles didn't exist when they made the Constitution. They'll find a way. But yeah, this is this is a great article right here. Not to knock it, there's merit from what I'm saying. It's like, okay, this is the first example for many people that, hey, if they can do this to Trump, they can come do it to you. They can do whatever they want. It's if you give them the right circumstance, they will rip the Constitution in half and just come in and do what they want. So that's very interesting. And they usually the area they use is the probable cause, because unfortunately the Constitution doesn't properly define probable cause. That's actually in the hands of the judges to maintain the integrity of that. And there was actually an interesting issue with the judge that signed off on the warrant for Trump here. So there's a lot of interesting stuff. I'm looking at it from an objectivist middle standpoint, but I could see, hey, if you looked at it from a Democrat standpoint, you'd be like, yeah, better him than me, or like, good, they should have done this. But it's important to see it from kind of the objective middle ground and see that, hey, I hadn't heard about this guy since he left office. I hadn't heard about him since the insurrection, January 6th. Now, he's able to just use this as that it's the greatest free publicity, and he's going to be able to use it to obviously raise money for a 2024 campaign, which I don't think is right for him. I don't think it's right for America. I think, somebody like Ron DeSantis would be better. But that's not to say that it won't end up, for the experience and intimidations purposes on the international stage, it won't end up being Trump. I think that there's a chance he could just win it again, based off of happenings like this.
Yeah, and for anyone who sort of missed it, they came in. It was like 19 months, so it's a bit of a long time waiting to go get
Yeah.
this documentation. And
Yep.
anyway, he had the documentation hidden in his basement. Apparently, wasn't hidden. It was classified, but he declassifies the documents himself. I like how the president can declassify stuff, even if it's classified, as long as he declassifies it. Anyway, you've got to
Yep.
wonder, why are you taking box loads of documentation when you leave? It was a bit like, why did Hillary Clinton, delete 30,000 emails? I was just tidying up my email database. It's like
Yeah.
30,000 emails. It's like, what's going on with that sort of information? She's come out with some clangers in the time as well. Remember the time she said she was taking to Bosnia and she was under sniper fire?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Secret Service. Oh, that was good job. The Secret Service flying into Bosnia under sniper fire. The Secret Service had to come out themselves and said, "Listen, there was no sniper fire." She went there. There was TV cameras. There was nothing really went on. Eventually she
Yeah.
admitted there wasn't, but it sounded good. Under
Yeah. It
sniper
sounded
fire.
good. They like that. They like that when they're running a campaign and,
And
be able
their
to be a
money raising.
hero. And
So
yeah,
it's
the money
amazing.
raising.
Yeah, so he's basically, Trump raises when he's on right now, but $200,000 a day in political donations from his backers. Because of this, he bombarded them with up to 100 emails since the start of the week. So that's how much additional emails he sent out. That's 100 different emails, and it's increased his donations to over 1 million a day from his base this week.
Wow.
Yes, that's imagine 1 million a day. And people think, oh, Trump's stupid. He's making $1 million a day. There's no
Yep.
cost to that. It's just,
They're making $1 million a day.
and
He's
political
he's
donation.
maintained these rallies throughout throughout his downtime. And really what it is I see him trying to do something similar to what Putin does, to be honest, which is Putin, there is a term limit on Putin. I think he can have 2 consecutive terms, then he has to
No,
switch.
no,
He
he
does
changed
that.
it. He changed it. He
Oh, he
changed the
finally
rules.
changed it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
can
because he had
be
to.
president for life now.
Yeah, he used to have to
Like
switch with that
President Z.
Medvedev guy.
We've
Yep.
changed. Yeah, he switched it, but then now he's got back in. He changed the rules. And President
Yep.
Z in China, he changed the rules as well. So they can be
Yep.
presidents for life now under the new rule.
Yeah,
And
and
obviously
that's what I
Trump's seen
think
this.
is. Yeah, that's what I think is a little bit dangerous from the Trump angle, because he mentioned something about wanting that one time, but
Yeah,
it's
president for life.
I think, yeah, president for life. I think it would be probably better if we just had somebody new. But as far as the intimidation in the world stage, because we need intimidation to deal with these guys that are president for life. I think Trump's perfect for that. He did a perfect job. Um, you know, Internationally, intimidating guys like Putin or President Xi, because they question, hey, maybe this guy would do it. Maybe he pushed the button. I don't know, and it's a good question for them to have in their mind. But with a DeSantis, I just feel like he would be good domestically. He'd be great,
Yeah, he's not got the
domestic.
baggage as well. You know what I mean? It's something
Yeah,
new, which is always good. It's just
I
like,
just think that a lot of the reason he's popular. I was in Florida during the COVID times. It seemed like he just kind of looked confused in every headline I would see. He would look very confused and just out of place, but he just kind of like he had a choice whether to lock it down or not lock it down, and he just was like, don't do it, and the opportunity landed on his lap with COVID, and everybody likes him because he, made the decision to not keep the lockdowns in place and open things up again pretty quickly. And in reality, it was nowhere as quick as Texas, but it was still, he gets a great reputation for that from the tourism industries, and everybody, adores Ron DeSantis. But the reality of it is, it's not because he's a good leader. It's because he had this opportunity landed on his lap and he just made the right decision. And then, had he made any different decision, it probably would have ended for him like Newsom, with a recall election and, just hell and hot water. But, he made the right decision. So,
And Newsom's managed to ride that out as well, so he's now,
yeah. Yep.
and he's positioning himself to run for president as well,
Yeah.
because
I think
he's taking
that,
adverts in Texas. He's doing adverts. He's using taxpayers' money to do adverts, pushing his agenda into Florida.
yep.
So, and then you've
That's,
got DeSantis on the news talking about his adverts. It's not going to be long before we get DeSantis. But in a way, I think that's better. It's better than having Biden Trump 2, or
yeah, it's,
Clinton Trump 2 would be even worse. It's a bit like Rocky 4, when you had Ivan Drago versus Rocky. It was great back in the day, and they're both in shape compared to
yeah.
like Trump and Biden. Let's be realistic. If you go online and Google Sylvester Stallone, this guy, even though he's the same age as these guys, is still ripped, But
Yeah. And
rather than then,
that's it.
if you saw Trump when he was at the Saudi golf tournament where he's like, when he didn't have his makeup on, he just looked absolutely terrible. Looked
Yeah.
fat and bloated, really bad. And you're just thinking, is this what you want? An 82-year-old guy versus an 80-year-old guy, two old white men fighting it out again in America. And I think most people don't want it, but Trump's going to keep pushing it. If he's making $1 million a day from his base, he's going to be loving this. Let's just keep pumping this
Yeah.
information. And then the news companies like it too, because suddenly CNN viewing figures were down. No one went to CNN anymore. The left they've got a
Yeah.
hate figure, but
It's
now they've got the hate
interesting
figure.
that they make, yeah, the media makes all this money off it. And I think that they honestly kind of like the idea of an old president too, because if you had somebody that just flat out passed away of natural causes in office, that's a big headline. Yeah.
Oh, plus
Like,
it's they know that
that's a big
Trump's going
headline.
to bring them viewers. It's as simple as that,
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
suddenly
And,
your advertising goes up. It's just like, he comes out and says all the news companies advertising has just been gone downhill since he was there. But he's right, because every morning
yeah.
he would get on Twitter, 5 o'clock, bowel movement, does a tweet, just something outrageous, but like the guy Andrew Tate, except it's like he's got a bigger
Yep.
following. So he does
Yeah.
this, he's president, saying something outrageous. And then it's not only on here, in the news channels here, it's all over the world. It's just like
Absolutely.
everyone's looking at that thing. And then we're discussing this tweet. We're discussing what will happen with this tweet. We'll do all that. And then the next day it's a new tweet. And then we're all back on it again as well. It's just
Yeah.
like we're basically, whatever this guy puts on Twitter, everybody's coming. So as we march on, we can't not we'll have to bring up the other one that's obviously key in terms of the big article this week is Biden's Inflation Reduction Act promises tax credit and new use of electric vehicles. So he managed to get a bill passed through, everybody. So I
I
noticed
think
he was,
what I remember hearing about this too is it was like a Trojan horse to just add more taxation and stuff too, which was, um,
well, it was actually, if you actually look into the bill itself, there's actually nothing to do with Inflation Reduction. It was just
oh
like
yeah,
it was nothing to do with that at all. It's a bit like the War on Drugs Act. Did it actually help with the war on drugs? No, it didn't. The war on terror,
no,
did that stop terrorism acts? No, it just meant trillions of dollars in military spending. Trillions of dollars in FBI, CIA with the war on drugs. And now we've got the Inflation Reduction Act. And there was even some professor who was one of the lefty universities. He actually came out and said, it's actually nothing to reduce inflation. He's just basically writing another $700 billion. And it should be about renewable energy, switching to green energy. It was actually the act, and I was actually looking at the article there. Everyone can get a 7,500 tax credit on an electric vehicle. On the same day when this got approved, Ford have put up their prices for electric vehicles by $8,500. so,
wow,
so Fords are super happy with this one coming through. And then again, it was to do with this Build Back Better. So that was actually the original act was going to be 1.8 trillion that they tried to pass, and it never got through the House. I don't know if people realize that. And that was all to do with us switching the grid over. We're moving to renewable energy. So essentially this act, even though they're calling it the Inflation Reduction Act, is the same act. It's the same information. If you really want to go into it, like, how does the Inflation Reduction Act giving people $4,000 tax break on buying a renewable energy, electric vehicle? It doesn't make any sense at all, and if they actually go into it, there's nothing that's going to actually reduce inflation in any way. And traditionally, it's all about electric vehicles. There's very, very little about what's actually happening, and then you come back through, it's all to do with National Highway. It's all to do with, it includes, look at the increase immediately, and all the car dealerships, all their share prices went up when this got signed. They're
Yeah,
talking about Ford, they're talking about Tesla, they're talking about Chevy. They've all gone up on the basis of
love the
this
quote
act.
there. 70% of currently available electric vehicles wouldn't be able to even access the credit. So it's
Yeah.
I'll stick to I'm gonna stick to my gas powered car for now, but maybe there's something
As
in
they
the
become more
future
like
that would.
computers, they'll just get cooler and cooler. You'll want to switch over. The big thing was there were going to be slow electric vehicles. And suddenly Tesla comes along and these things are like super rapid. Now, all the sort of, your meatheads, your engine heads, the guys that like the big gas guzzlers, they didn't like these cars because the acceleration was slow. But now that acceleration's faster, it's like, well, I want one of these things. I want the fastest car
Yeah,
on the road. So suddenly we'll start
yeah,
switching over. And then because there's no engine in them, there's just a battery, we're going to get all sorts of weird shaped cars as well. I saw the latest Tesla one that's going to be coming out, that you can actually change the color of your car on a daily basis. It's just like
hmm,
you just go in and choose the color, and it just makes the color of the car go down like that. Just like a sort of
wow,
spectrum. Yeah. So they've got, I don't know how it works, but it's like a spectrum of colors. So you can basically wake up in the morning, you can
huh,
choose whatever color Tesla you've got. So that'll be the new one where you don't actually have to, you can choose any color. You can change your mind. If it's raining, you want to change this color, that color. At night, you can switch to this color. Pretty cool. So Elon Musk
yeah,
just
that's
keeps pushing things, pushing the boundaries. And, as people come in, they want to do this. But this is just marketing again. The midterms are coming up. I want to bring inflation down. It's come from like 9.1 to 8.5%. Traditionally inflation was actually beat annually, but now the
yeah,
Democrats have made it to monthly. It's zero. It's zero. It's come down, but we're not talking about food because food's still at 13.1%. The UK, they've just announced inflation at 10.1%. So
yeah. We'll have to see where it goes because I know I look back in the '80s. It was like the '80s was a prosperous time. It was like 13%, and they eventually got it down. But I think this
yeah,
time, if you read a lot of the Ron Paul stuff and subscribe to that, and you look at what Ron Paul's been saying for almost 20 years, yeah, it makes sense that I think this time might be different. I think that we've run up too much debt.
yeah. Plus, it's the price of goods.
Yeah,
For how it affects people. How does it affect people at home? Where's the inflation risen? If food's gone up 13%, that's what they're saying in last month's 13.1% food. And it used to be
wow.
based on bread and milk. Basically, it was like your basic commodities, your food commodities. What's the inflation of that? That's 13%. So if you've got a job where you're required to drive there, so your gasoline charges have gone up a lot as well. They're up more than 13%. They're up 500% if you look back to 2020, Garrett. But we're all given a big pat on the back because it's come down. Now I get it, we were on
Yeah,
lockdown then, but 500% is still 500%. Now,
yeah,
if you think of how inflation went up in the past, it all comes down to government spending. So if the government are spending essentially best part of an additional $700 billion, how is that going to reduce inflation? I just don't see it myself. I don't see how that's going to reduce inflation. And again, why did they not just come out and say what it was? We should have called it the Switch to Green Energy Act. You know, and everyone would be, yeah, that's good. Okay, it costs us a little bit more money. In the meantime, I've opened up oil and gas drilling back in the US. It was a big thing came out this week, which was a smart thing to do. It's like we shouldn't basically say Biden's actually gone out there. He's gone over Saudi Arabia. He's met the prince. We did the fist pump. You know, he released an extra 400,000 barrels out there. That's brought sort of reduced gas prices down here as well, which is great. You know, so gas has come down like 40, 50 cents. And now he's increasing domestic production so we can again replenish the strategic reserves, which he wants to do right now. That's a good move. You shouldn't bash the guy for making a good move. And then he comes out and he wants to put this bill through. I think if they want to switch to renewable energy, we've got to rip up the grid. We need a new grid system that's not based in fossil fuels. And it all has to do with we're all going to switch to electric vehicles, the electric charging stations, everything that I'm switching into there as well. I'm going to spend $700 billion redoing all the roads, making it electric vehicle friendly, making it so we can go to autonomous vehicles. That's a good thing. That's like that. And that to me, if he came out and said that, that would be great. But it's like, who's advising him in terms of marketing? Because he wants to push, you know, the Inflation Reduction Act. It's like, doesn't even make sense, you know? It's the Build Back Better Act, but rather than 1.8 trillion, it's 700 billion. So it actually will reduce inflation because he's going to spend basically $1 trillion less than he originally promised. So maybe there is some truth in what he's saying, Garrett, you know? We've got to hold him to that as well. So we'll wait and see. Yeah. Right, we've got one other comment coming in. Let's see. Oh, it's a Jeremy Bruce coming through. No thank you in switching to electric vehicles. Brilliant comment, you know.
I would have thought about it if they would have stayed reasonably priced, but it's just, I mean, I'm fine.
Well, I've still got my Honda CRV, 306,000 miles, everybody, you know. So it's just, it doesn't have AC only works up to 80 degrees. So it's not good to go in the afternoon around San Diego.
I can attest to that the AC, you got to get the Freon recharge on that or something, man. Because when we went to get Mexican food, it was that thing was hot.
it was hotter than outside, basically. You know, you're sweating going in. That's why I've lost so much weight. I've got my own sweat box that I drive around here in the afternoons. You know, my mechanic rule says, "Listen, it's California. Just wind down the windows." Yeah, but it's 100 degrees outside and 105 in the car. It's like, what do you do? You know, so it's. But I'll tell you what. Costs me nothing every month, so it's perfect, you know. And 300,000 miles, I'll just keep chugging along with the old Honda CRV. Big up for Honda, you know. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, those things last forever.
So anyway, that's a great way to finish. Thanks very much for Jeremy. He's not switching to electric vehicles. You know, they're going to have to bring the prices down for Garrett and I to do it, unless they give everyone a free one. Then we'll all switch over. You know,
I'll switch for free. You give it to me for free. Roll it up on the driveway. Yeah, I'll do it.
If that's a big winner in case he wins the next election, Biden, I'll give everyone a free electric vehicle. How's that sound if you vote for me? Oh, yeah.
It's like Oprah. Look under your seat. Look under your seat. There's a free car.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what she's got to do. She's got to run. They've talked about her running for president. She should run and do the car trick, but for everybody.
Oh, yeah. She could take on Trump. When she was thinking of running, Trump was worried for that, you know? So it's like they need another TV personality, but he's good compared to Biden. But I don't think he's good compared to other people. You know, he's just not as sharp as he once was. That's absolutely for sure. And Biden's sort of doddering around right now. It's not good as well. Even when he signed that bill, I saw it was all on Twitter yesterday. You know, he's looking to fist pump people, and then he fist pumps the same guy twice. So the guy fist pumps him, and he goes around, and then he's got his hand out to fist pump him. I said, you just fist bumped me like 4 seconds ago, but never mind. You know, he's the president of the free world. So anyway, good for him. He got the bill through. We'll see if this Inflation Reduction Act gets going. If it's going to follow the war on terror or the war on drugs, then it might not have the same effect and inflation could increase, but you never know. So thanks again, Garrett. That's been great. You know, appreciate the time again. Thanks to everyone out there. Yeah, let's get Eva on with her space token. That will be
Yeah.
great. You know, Jeremy keeping it real for everyone out there as well. No, he's not switching to electric vehicles. Either Garrett and I at this moment. Okay, thanks very much. You've been watching Boom.
Thank
It's on
you.
the blockchain. Have a nice day.